figured I'd do a quick little video on the hand drill. So this is my spindle. This is made out of horseweed. It's got these little sections in it. Horseweed is a pithy plant, which means on the inside you can see how it's got a pithy inside. The outside has a hard cask. This piece obviously has been dried and straightened. It's not super straight. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but this will work nicely. This is Yucca, and you can see I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes on here. These 5 holes have probably done about 30 fires. You can see how far down the foot goes on each hole. This one ended up going all the way through. This one I busted out. This one I also busted out. Every time you bust it out, you pretty much have to start over. This one is probably got one more fire left in it. I don't know if you can see how much floor that still has. But I could probably get one more fire out of there, but I'm going to start a new hole since this is a tutorial video. Taking my Moira Garberg, I have this tang that comes through the bottom, and I like this tang because the point tends to dig into the wood too much, so I'll just use the edge of this tang to I'll put it on the center and I'll just start to kind of twist it, and I'll hold it kind of at an angle so that it digs into the wood. That's all you want right there. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. This is my new hole. It's very important not to cut your notch and not to go too deep on your starter hole. I'm just using this envelope as a welcome mat to hold my coal. I have some jute here that I can use as a Tinder Nest. I really didn't think I was going to do a full fire today, but it's really just going to help out if I just go the whole distance. So what I'm going to do really quick is fluff up a little area. Separate all these strands. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. So it's got to have a lot of fibers exposed. Like that. See how fluffy that looks compared to this? This is going to go on the bottom of my bundle, and there's a reason for that. Except we can put it right side up for now. Now we're going to start drilling our hole. This is the floating hands technique. You rock both hands back and forth so that they climb up the spindle as you're pushing down. So I can apply a lot of pressure, but my hands stay at the top. Also apply a little bit of spit to give you more grip. It'll feel slick at first, but then your hands will grip it a lot better. I'm going to give it a little bit of downward pressure. Until I start seeing smoke. I got a few wisps. I don't know if I got that on camera. But now you can see that there's punk all the way around that hole. This is a burned in hole. We want to save that punk. Because that's going to be our coal later. Now I'm going to carefully notch this hole. I'm going to start on the edge here. I'm just going to make something that kind of is a little shallower than a 45-degree angle. Alright, that's got to come into the center. So I'm just going to cut into the socket just a little bit, just to help. And look at that, I just broke out part of that, but I don't think that that's going to be a problem. I hope it's not going to be a problem. I don't think it'll be a problem. Right, so now that coal will simply be able to fall down into that little notch I just cut, the dust. And that's what we want. This is what happens when you start to try to rush it. Patience is your ally in this particular project. Now I'm going to set this up so that the notch is directly above that old punk. I do this best in my bare feet because I feel like I have more control. Apply some spit for grip. Now we gotta start all over again. This is where you're like starting to get frustrated because you're like, man, I really don't want to, my back's hurting, my foot's slipping. I just think of all the reasons why this isn't gonna work. But it's just important not to think about that. And right now it's really important to just let the punk build up. You're not really trying to push down so much as you're just trying to get that heat to stay constant. I'm going to add a little more spit because I think we're almost there. Starting to see wisps of smoke. Now you just want to give it all you got. Or just bear down as hard as possible. And give it a little bit of air. And there we got it. That's our coal. You don't want to pick this up, but I'm going to, just to show the camera. You want to give it about 30 full seconds. Now remember this fluffy stuff here. We're simply going to take this, pick this up. Just going to place that down and flip. Now that coal is still smoking there. I'm going to bend this in half and immediately start giving it some oxygen. Kind of want to go fast because you're holding it firm and loose at the same time so it can smother out really easily. I'm going to go ahead and give it a second pinch, but even looser of a grip now, because I really don't want that coal to go out. And I'm doing a figure 8 so that the coal is always into the wind, or into the air that I'm applying here. Now what this is doing, the coal is slowly warming up the fibers of the jute. And since a lot of these fibers are still densely packed, it's going to take a little more effort. I didn't break up all the fibers. I just did that little tiny pile on the top there. And you see I keep stopping to check the smoke, because the thicker the smoke gets, closer the fire is. I got my water here ready. Okay, it's almost here. It just flared up. And there we have it. Fire from sticks.